What's up, guys? Welcome back to The Last Word. Today is our first NFL podcast. How about a round of applause? Yep. It's been a long time coming. I know this is our multimedia sports conglomerate, and so far we've only done basketball, but today we're finally doing NFL. Unfortunately, Nick is not with us because he has a migraine.
But we do have a guest today. We have Peter Gewurz, my younger brother.
Pete. Yeah. Peter, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Peter, and I'm a Jets fan.
Peter, what are you wearing right now?
A Sam Darnold jersey.
That's what we like to hear, boys. All right. This week we are going to be doing a little bit of a power rankings for the NFL. Each of us made our own power rankings. This is heading into Week 8, following Week 7. So, Chuck, you want to get us started?
Okay. My last place. Number 32. Cincinnati Bengals.
Really?
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, Fletcher, I thought we would be universally agreed on this one. That it's Miami.
They're my next
so
one.
bad.
They're my next one.
Okay. I got Cincinnati at 31. I'm
Yeah,
assuming Fletcher.
I got the Bengals at 31.
Miami's so bad.
Yeah, but Miami's just clearly tanking.
I hate
trading away all
Miami
their
as much as the next guy, but you know what? I've never been a fan of Andy
Well,
Dalton.
I don't hate Miami.
I don't
They're
hate
just
Miami.
terrible.
I hate Miami because I'm a Pats fan.
I mean,
all right?
Miami just traded away all their assets
Yeah.
for draft picks. Laramie Tunzel, all these guys. They shipped them out.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah. All right. So 31 and 32,
31.
Cincinnati and Miami.
Yeah,
What do
Miami.
you guys have at 30?
I have the New York Jets.
I as well have the New York Jets.
I have Washington
Wow.
because at
You
least
guys
the
really
Jets have a
tough on
win.
Jets.
The
Yeah,
Redskins
I
have a
have
win too.
I have the Atlanta Falcons, actually.
Okay.
I think this team has just completely collapsed. I think they've lost all faith in Dan Quinn. He's made some really poor coaching decisions this year, and the roster's very talented. At the same time, they've had a ton of injuries, especially to the defensive side of the ball, but they're just not getting production out of guys like Vic Beasley, who was a first-round pick. He had one season with 15 sacks. Since then, he's been 5
Since then
sacks
he's
a year.
been doing nothing.
Matt Ryan has been very consistently mediocre
Consistently
for the entire.
inconsistent.
Yeah, exactly.
Consistently
3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Yeah, no. He opened up the year. He had 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Next game he had 3 touchdowns, 3 picks. It's just he's not the same MVP we saw a few years ago.
Julio Jones has been
Julio Jones has been solid, and they've gotten some nice production from
for him
Austin
being
Hooper, who's
for
really
him.
coming out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But it's just
But,
the defense is just
the defense has
atrocious.
been absolutely
The other week
atrocious.
they let up 53 to the Texans.
Yeah.
But the reason I have the Jets is because the Jets don't have a bright spot. They don't have a bright spot. Sam Darnold hasn't played that well when he's played, and Le'Veon Bell was supposed to come in and reshape this team, and he just hasn't. He cares
more
the
about
worst.
his rap.
Yeah,
his
he's
rap
had the
career
worst
than
year
football.
of his career.
Yeah.
He's just it's been just horrible for the Jets.
I think the Jets defense has actually been all right this year when they.
It hasn't been horrible.
C.J. Mosley.
And Jamal Adams.
They did a pretty good job against the Cowboys.
Only held the
Those
Patriots to
big
33
Yeah, but that's
points.
because
the Pats are special.
the Cowboys led that game in every important category, and they're the only team since 1980 to lose a game while leading in times of possession, total yardage, the turnover differential, all of these categories. They're the only team since 1980 to lose.
I would tell you that they lost in the coaching battle in that game. But Jason Garrett. Alrighty, so
All right. So
29.
my 29 was Washington
I got
for
Washington
the same
there, too.
reasons.
I have the Redskins.
Yeah.
They're
Atlanta.
rotating between
Atlanta. Okay.
3
Atlanta's
quarterbacks
pretty
now.
bad.
Of course, you have the
Redskins
Jets
not
up there.
working.
Jets fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Washington.
Case Keenum's been
He's
he's been okay.
Especially
He's been
considering
okay.
they don't have much talent around them.
Exactly. That's the reason why I put Washington above the Jets is just because
They put up more of a
they've
fight
had
against
they've
teams.
had bright spots. The Jets haven't really had any
Although
bright
I will
spots,
tell you
but they're
this,
still talented.
The Redskins' only win is against Miami, which they won
Which,
by a point.
Yeah.
But
and the Jets at least beat the Cowboys.
you look at the Redskins. They played the Niners close. To be fair to them,
Yeah.
the rainy game.
They played
It was
some
going to be
teams
close. They played Minnesota close
on Thursday.
on Thursday. They've had a couple of all right performances. Scary Terry is amazing. Terry
He's a
McLaurin
great
is-
rookie
They
receiver,
stayed
but
with the
He's a good
Patriots.
receiver.
they're rebuilding. They fired their coach mid-season. Haskins has looked very poor in the few games that he's played.
Haskins is
Agreed.
atrocious.
Okay, so 28, I actually have the New York Jets.
I had Atlanta.
I have Atlanta.
I have the Jets.
Do we just have
Yeah.
the same?
We
ranking?
honestly we had the last. we're in sync right now.
So,
Fletcher.
Yeah.
The bottom 5 are all pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we all had the same teams.
Now,
So-
who do you guys have at 27?
I have
The Buccaneers.
the
I
New
have the
York
Buccaneers.
Giants.
I actually have the Buccaneers.
I
as
have the
well.
New York
I put the
Giants.
Giants at 26 just because
I
they
put
beat
the-
Tampa in
Yeah,
Tampa.
I have the Giants
But,
at 26
yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
Tampa's just
That's
it's
fair.
just so
I mean,
inconsistent.
Tampa, it's just Jameis Winston.
My thing with Tampa is just like I love Mike Evans. I've
Their
always
receiving
loved
core.
Mike Evans.
Godwin has been going off.
They have great
The receiving
receivers.
core is amazing.
It's just they need
They can't run
they need
the
to
ball.
find a quarterback.
They
That's
can't
it.
run the ball.
It's
They
just
have
embarrassing.
they have a bottom 3 starting quarterback in the NFL.
I mean, I thought
And they're-
Jameis would really step forward with Bruce Arians
No.
this year, and early in the season it looked like he was going to. He was having a pretty good year. They had some nice wins, like when they beat the Rams 55-40
Yeah.
in the Coliseum. But he's just so inconsistent. He threw
Truly.
5 interceptions against the Panthers the other week
So
in London.
bad.
It's just you can't win a game when your
one of
quarterback's
the-
giving the
that's
ball
one of
over
the-
5 times.
That's a W.
He's
That's a W.
Alrighty, so
Yeah.
26, I had the New York Giants.
And I have the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I have the G-Men.
You know, I think the Giants.
G-Men Galaxy.
I think the Giants have shown a lot of progress, especially with Daniel Jones. I'm very.
Daniel
impressed
Jones has
with
been
what he's
great.
doing.
I'll be the first to tell you
I
Daniel
mean,
Jones
yeah,
has been
he's
great.
making some rookie mistakes. The fumbles are definitely a problem, and he has some turnovers. But you know,
Yeah.
for the most part, he's taking shots downfield. He's showing he can read a defense. His sacks are from holding the ball too long and going through his progressions, not just being a one-read guy. And he's had some good games. You know, I think coaching is definitely a problem.
Also, Saquon's absence didn't really help them that much
Yeah.
because Saquon's a really big
Saquon-
piece of that team.
Saquon hasn't necessarily been the same since he's returned from absence
well,
either.
he had
he's
one game.
okay.
He had like
He's-
70
He's
yards.
all
and 18
right,
carries.
but he's not playing
Just-
like how he used to.
Just give him a full season. Just give him a full season.
I mean, he's still averaging, 5.6 yards per carry this year. But again, I think the
don't-
coaching
yeah.
for the Giants,
I
Pat
don't like their
Shermer,
play
Need to
calling.
change.
Pat Shermer
Their
called
play
a
calling
draw
needs
to
to
Saquon on
Yeah.
3rd and 18 against the Arizona Cardinals.
It's not good.
All right, so number 25, I had the Cleveland Browns.
I have
Wow.
the
Wow,
Chargers.
that's low.
That-
I've the
They got some
Chargers.
Baker
I have the
Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is
I had Tennessee.
Terrible.
I had Tennessee.
He's not playing
Baker
well right
Mayfield is playing worse than Jameis Winston.
Yeah,
Quite
I think
frankly,
he leads the league in turnovers.
he's got more picks than Jameis, more fumbles than any other. Actually, no, Gardner Minshew leads quarterback
Well,
in fumbles.
the
but
really
he's got
Don't
a lot of
disrespect the god like that, all right?
He's the jockstrap king.
He is the jockstrap king. He is the frat boy quarterback.
No,
all right?
but I think the real concerning thing with Baker, Fletch, like
He's a
you said,
one-legged quarterback.
he hasn't had a good game. Like, at least guys like Jameis, you know, he'll have that 5
had
touchdown
a-
game.
He's having his
but he'll
sophomore
have-
slump.
Like, this season, Baker has legitimately not had a single game yet where he hasn't turned over the ball.
Yeah.
You know, he
He's
just...
been atrocious,
Yeah,
and I
I agree.
hate Baker because he waltzes around like he's won 10 Super Bowl rings and he hasn't done anything
and
except
every time
become.
you turn on the TV, you gotta
Yeah.
see him on a new
Yeah,
ad.
You gotta
exactly.
see him on
So
New
I
Era.
had
Who has
Tennessee
live
just
sports.
solely based on like the coaching decisions because like they have some good talent, but like
Great
why,
talent.
why do you
Yeah.
bench Marcus Mariota and put in
Tennessee?
Ryan Tannehill?
Ryan
I think that
Tannehill.
made sense, actually.
I don't think it
I
made
think the
sense.
team was going downhill fast. I think they needed a little bit of change up.
Ryan
They won
Tannehill-
against the Chargers with Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill
How
has
old's
just
Mariota?
as
Is
many.
this his fifth year?
It's his 5th year, and
It's
he's
his fifth year?
he really hasn't improved.
He hasn't improved. I'll give him that. But like,
But
I still think you
he's
got to
had
ride
a
out with your
diff-
quarterback.
He's had a different offensive
know, man.
coordinator every year, and it's just been the same stupid stuff every year. It's been run twice with Derrick Henry, leave it 3rd and long, and
And
he has to pass the
I've
ball.
never been a fan of Derrick Henry either, so that's why I put him on.
Derrick Henry is an amazing running back.
I really
and
don't
you
think he's
regret
that
those
good.
words.
You know, I
don't
think
think he's
Henry's
that
up and
good.
down. I think he's bruising. He's not the fastest guy though. You know, and sometimes
He's
that hurts.
When
he's
he
like an
gets up
Eddie
to
Lacy.
speed,
He's just like big and tanky.
He is way better than Eddie Lacy.
Well, what Eddie Lacy was.
Henry really came
Eddie
on in like the
Lacy
last
is
6 games
literally
last
feast
season.
mode. You could see him. You could see him at Denny's.
Maybe
at 2
in
the morning
Seattle,
any day.
but like in Green Bay, he was good.
He won Rookie of the Year.
He
in
was
Green
good for
Bay,
1
right?
year in
Offensive
Green
Rookie of the
Bay,
Year.
and then he
Alright.
got
But,
Peter,
fired.
who'd you got,
Peter and I
25?
had the Chargers. there,
Chargers,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't like Philip Rivers. He's
I think this team's just collapsing.
Yeah.
You know,
Sorry-
and I think the
sorry,
coaching is
Dimitri.
very poor too. There's only one team in the league that I can consistently think of. Oh, they're just gonna lose this game
the
in a
Chargers.
close game. I mean, against Tennessee,
Oh, it's the
they had
Chargers.
like 3 tries from like the 1 yard line, and they fumble. It's just they find ways to lose games. That are
Yeah,
just
that's so true.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
You know,
the Chargers are terrible. I will give them that, but
yeah.
I mean, this roster though, it's so talented. This is a team that went 12-4
Yeah.
last season, had the best record in the
Yeah,
AFC.
and because of that, that's why they're a little higher for me. Just because like
Well,
I
that's-
haven't lost faith.
That's exactly why I put the Browns at 25 because
they have the talent.
they have the talent. They're terrible.
the
Freddie
receiving core.
Kitchens is out here calling draws on 4th and 9 as if that's gonna work. It's not. It's not. Freddie Kitchens has been terrible. Baker Mayfield has been terrible. Nick Chubb has looked good, and that's about it.
Nick Chubb's great.
I mean, you have Jarvis Landry and Odell on the same team, and
you're
you can't
not
win a
beating
game.
them.
Yeah.
Well, that's the really weird thing is that one game against Baltimore was phenomenal. They just blew out Baltimore, and Baltimore's been looking like
They've been looking like a good team.
right? Baltimore's the
They
first place in that
killed
division, and they just
Seahawks.
killed them.
Baltimore's like top 10 in my power rankings.
Yeah.
They need someone else other than Myles Garrett on defense. They need like anyone, any help from Myles.
Myles
They
Garrett's
have
phenomenal,
They have
Flash
good
Garrett,
corners. They have
Well-
Joe Schobert, who's a Pro Bowl linebacker. They have
They-
the pieces.
They're poorly
talent.
coached.
They're terribly.
They are
coached.
poorly coached.
They
Okay.
kept,
Very
they
true.
kept a lot of the same Hugh Jackson
very true.
staff,
Huge.
I know.
Very
like Freddie Kitchens.
That is not a bad team.
It's terrible.
Okay, so 24, I got the Denver Broncos.
I have the Denver
too.
Broncos.
Yeah, this team.
Fletch, who you hold on?
Not good.
Do you have the Denver Broncos at 24?
No,
Who you have?
I have the Cardinals.
The
Okay.
Cardinals.
I have the
You
Cardinals.
know, I can see that, but I just put the Cardinals a little higher because they're on a 3-game winning streak.
because they're on
you
a
know?
3-game winning streak. But
Joe Flacco's one of the
beat-
worst
they really-
starting quarterbacks
yeah,
in the
they-
NFL.
They haven't beaten anyone.
Oh,
Did you say? Oh, you're talking about Denver.
For Denver, yeah,
Yeah.
not Arizona.
I was about to say, like,
That's Carson Palmer.
Kyler.
I think Murray's
Kyler.
shown
I
some
know.
nice strides, and Arizona's shown some
Kyler's
good
not
progress.
good,
but
bro.
like you said, they haven't played anyone good.
Kyler
They
should
haven't
played
tried.
anyone
Kyler should have
good.
played baseball.
Denver got
Kyler
blown
should have
out.
played
But
baseball.
Denver at 24. This is just a bad team. I think Elway has to go with GM. You realize he hasn't had like
Yeah.
a single Pro Bowl pick out of his
They
his
just
first round
they just
picks
traded
in, like, the
Emmanuel
past 5
Sanders.
years have
It's
not
just
been-
they're
been
done.
Pro Bowlers.
They're done.
They've
Joe
been terrible.
Flacco, I mean, trading Case Keenum for Joe Flacco is like the most worthless move. It gets you nowhere.
Keenum's still
Flacco,
young.
He's washed up, man.
Keenum is not young.
Well, younger than Flacco.
Okay.
They're both just terrible.
Yeah.
Keenum was good for that year in
And it's a
Minnesota.
shame because their defense isn't that bad.
No.
Broncos got
They're
killed
really
by
not.
Kansas City.
I mean, they still got Von Miller, so like.
And Bradley Chubb.
Uh-huh.
All right. Number 23, I have my Tennessee Titans.
I have Pittsburgh.
I had
too.
Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Pittsburgh too.
I have.
So tell me why you got the Titans at 23.
I got the
Titans.
Titans because their coaching, mainly their play calling. Defensively, they haven't looked that terribly, but
I
their
think
play,
their defense is very solid.
they have a top 10 defense in terms of talent, but their coaching has been atrocious. Mike Vrabel, I love Mike Vrabel, but their offensive coordinator, whoever it is, I lost track. They've had 5 in the past 5 years, a different one for Marcus Mariota every year, and that's why it's been hindering his development. You give him a new offense every year, and he can't master an offense.
Well, the other sad thing, Fletch, is the offensive line. That's been a strong point for them for the past few years. What was Mariota sacked like 8 times against the Jaguars
9
on
times.
Thursday Night Football?
9 times.
It's embarrassing.
Too much.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And Taylor Lewan's return, you would have thought it helped. It's hardly helped. It's hardly helped at all.
True.
Yeah, so 23, though, we got Pittsburgh.
We got
They've
Pittsburgh.
lost some close games.
They've lost some close games. I think they're a solid team, but at the end of the day, they said they got better with addition by subtraction over the offseason. But when you lose Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, two of the best players in the league, you're just not going to get better.
They're just not
And
gonna be
especially
that
with
good.
Big Ben out for the whole year.
I think, and I think,
I think they're just
Juju's had to
developing young
adapt to
guys
his
this
new.
His new
I'm
roles,
the
the
guy.
Juju
I'm the
one.
guy.
Yeah.
Juju's not quite
He's
ready to
facing
be
a
a
lot
wide receiver.
heavier coverage. Okay, so who do you guys have at 22?
I have the Chargers.
I have Arizona.
I have Arizona too.
Yeah.
Well,
I have.
Well,
yeah,
y'all have
I
the same list, so.
I have the Chargers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
have the Chargers.
I put them there just because I love Keenan Allen.
They've got a ton of
They
talent.
have lots of talent. Defensively, needs some work. They're not.
They've got a ton
Garbage.
of injuries on the defensive
Yeah.
side of the ball.
Yeah,
But
they
they
just
still have Derwin James is phenomenal.
Mhm.
Joey Bosa,
Joe Bosa's
Melvin Ingram.
phenomenal.
I mean, they've got talent on both sides of the ball.
It's just.
It's a shame.
I feel
I
like
think the coaching needs to be better.
No, they definitely need change.
Like Anthony Lynn, he did a pretty good job last year, but it's just this year's just falling apart.
Agreed.
What about Arizona?
Yeah, so I put Arizona at 22 because I like what they're doing. They've got some young guys who are developing. Murray's looked kind of like a stud these past few weeks. I think against Atlanta, he was the NFC Offensive Player of the Week.
I'm telling you, he should have played baseball.
I'm
Should have played
And
baseball.
Chase Edmonds. Can we talk about Chase Edmonds for a minute?
Yeah.
The guy had like 127 rushing yards or something against the Giants.
Yeah.
Like 3 touchdowns. I mean, they've got some young guys who are playing well. Chandler Jones is still a solid player.
Chandler Jones is great.
I think this year though is just about developing young guys. And, getting,
It's just
they
trying to
need
it's
get
just
installed.
moving on from their previous quarterback Carson Palmer. It's just
They're
like
just trying to get where they need to be in a few years.
Mhm.
They have the chance to be a pretty solid team a few years down the road.
Yeah,
They've got the pieces in
I
place.
can 100%
It's
agree
just
with
a
that.
matter if they, can execute with their coach, who was just a middle of the road coach in college, but
100% agree with
he's
that.
shown to be okay in the pros.
Alright.
But
21.
I got Cleveland.
I have Arizona.
I have Philadelphia.
I have the Broncos.
Oh wow, so we all got different teams. So I think we
You
talked
had the
about
Broncos really high.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, they still got a lot
Broncos
of the
really high.
They still have a lot of good pieces on defense.
Yeah. I just
I
think
put
their
I have
offense
my
is horrible.
I have the Titans at 23, so I had to, and the Broncos beat the Titans,
Broncos
so I
and
had
Titans.
they shut out the Titans, so I had to put the Broncos a little
That's
bit
fair.
higher than Tennessee.
That's fair.
I mean, my
And-
problem with Denver is you look at their offense, bad quarterback, bad offensive line, weak receiving core.
And they just
Not a
gave
great-
away
not a great rushing
They,
offense.
they
They just
just
have,
gave
like,
away
Phillip
their
Lindsay.
best receiver too in Emmanuel Sanders.
Offense, I mean, they lost 30-6 to the Chiefs with Matt Moore.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
this is
that's
just a weak
pretty
team.
bad.
Yeah.
But I can see them
Yeah.
at like 21. I put Cleveland, because I think they've
Yeah,
showed some
they've
flashes
had
like
something.
the Baltimore game. And I
Yeah.
think they've got a phenomenal amount of talent, but like we already talked about, don't want to rehash it. They've got coaching problems.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had Philadelphia. I was pretty unimpressed.
Philly.
With
Wow.
Inconsistent.
Yeah,
The
they're-
Dallas game. was
that
horrible.
Dallas
That
game.
Dallas.
And before the game,
Wow.
Doug Peterson came out and said, "We're going to win this game. We're going to be first place in the division."
I am.
It's just
That was disappointing. Dallas came off of a loss to the Jets, and they just killed the
3-game
Eagles.
losing streak for Dallas.
They
going into
killed the Eagles.
Mhm.
And I
Okay.
think another thing about the Eagles I want to add real quick is that locker room's falling apart real quick. There have been
That's
reports in the
so
past
true.
about Carson Wentz not being a great leader,
Mhm.
and I don't really know anything about this because obviously I'm not in the Eagles locker room. But it sounds like the guys just aren't in it for
They
him.
just
I
don't-
mean, Nelson
they just don't
Aguilar,
buy in.
They're
They just
not
don't buy in.
rallying
These-
around the
yeah,
quarterback
and these
like we do
receivers,
for
they're
you,
dropping-
Scotty G.
These receivers, they're just dropping balls and they seem kind of
They're
lackadaisical
putting
out
no
there.
effort in.
They
Yeah,
they
that
really
one,
just they
that
don't buy in.
62-yard pass he threw to Aguilar, it was like 6 inches away from him. He was just kind of like, tried to run for it and didn't really feel like it,
Yeah.
They're just, the team's falling apart.
Mhm.
Yeah, unimpressive.
Mhm. And it's sad because what was it? 2 years ago they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last year
And
they
they've got a pretty similar roster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
last year they should have made.
They need Nick
Except for the
Foles.
rest-
They need Nick Foles back.
It's just the recipe.
They need to
isn't
run the Philly
working.
special.
They're trying to build. It's kind of the way like what the Niners' defensive recipe is right now. In defense, except it's not working out. They try to build a really good front seven, so
The secondary.
team and they have a budget secondary, so
Mhm.
teams can't run on them, so they can drop more people back into coverage, and it just hasn't worked out like it has with like the Niners, and then
Very true.
I can't even say that with the Patriots because it's just everywhere they go on defense is flawless.
They are
It's
just
beautiful.
A perfect team.
I think with the Eagles, we do have to acknowledge, though, this team has just been ravaged by injuries. The secondary
Oh, yeah.
is just, they're starting like their third string guys. out
Avante
there.
Maddox is their
They're
best
just
playing
getting burned.
cornerback
They're just
right
getting
now.
burned.
Okay. So 20.
I have Cleveland.
Okay.
That's
I
what we do.
have Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Yeah, I put them a little bit higher, but
I did
how come
too.
you put Jacksonville at 20?
I just need to see more from them. I just need to see more from Gardner Minshew before I can actually
More
say.
from Minshew?
Yeah.
More of a
It's a
Minshew.
six-round
I want-
rookie.
I
Minshew's
want-
been
I
carrying
want
them.
I want more from Gardner Minshew.
The fumbling
I
is a
expect so
problem.
much
Last
from
week
him.
against the Bengals, he had kind of
He's
a down
just-
game.
yeah.
He's been having some fumble problems.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And I need more from the defense too.
the
Yeah.
defense has
The
been a
defense has
disappointment
been
for me.
I
disappointing.
need more from the defense.
And now that they lost Jalen Ramsey, they're
Yep.
just not the same unit.
I think
that
the
they were
Ramsey
a couple
situation
years
was a
ago.
real shame that it had to work out
Who'd
like
you
that.
have?
He's
Oh.
a big ego though. He's a really big ego.
Yeah.
At 20, I had Tennessee. We already
Tennessee,
talked
we
about
already
Tennessee,
talked
but
about
I think
Tennessee.
That's kinda high.
like you
Couple
said.
times.
I mean, I just think their
Yeah.
defense is actually
That
very
defense
talented.
is so
And
talented.
I like Derrick Henry and some of the young receivers they have, like Corey
AJ
Davis,
Brown,
and AJ Brown. It's just that, and I think they're playing a little better with Tannehill against the Chargers. It seemed
I
like they
don't know.
relied around him a bit
I
more.
feel like Marcus Mariota can be a starting quarterback if they like.
He
Yeah,
should
I
be.
think
They need a help.
He
I
should
think he's
be.
the guy who needs a change of scenery.
He needs a change of scenery. Tennessee is just not the place for Marcus Mariota.
Go to Miami, Marcus.
No.
No, that's
No.
no.
But
No.
he could go to like a
He's
Pittsburgh.
killing my Oregon heart.
He could
right
go
now.
to Pittsburgh or Chicago. Try to.
He
make
would
something
thrive in
happen.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
He would thrive in
He
Pittsburgh.
would thrive in Pittsburgh.
I think Chicago.
I don't know if
would
he'd
be
like
good
playing
for
in the cold though.
I don't want to see him go to Chicago.
Okay.
him.
19.
Kind of a graveyard.
19.
What?
Oh, do you
didn't
do-
say
okay.
my number 20.
I thought we
Oh,
talked.
no.
Who's your 20? Who's your 20, Fletcher?
It's Pittsburgh.
Okay, we already talked about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
It's Pittsburgh.
Okay, so 19.
19.
This is where I have the Browns.
That's way
I think
too high.
that's a good
Yeah,
spot
I
for
have
them.
Tennessee
Here's
here.
where I have
We've
the Browns.
talked about it.
Tennessee at 19.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
had
like
Cleveland 20, Tennessee 19.
I have Philadelphia at 19.
Wow. Okay.
I had them a little bit lower.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
I have
team.
Philly a little bit higher.
I mean,
I
I think
Philly
they definitely have some
up on
talent,
it.
and they've shown some real grit in wins like at Green Bay. That's Green Bay's only loss. I think that was a very, very nice win.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
And they're
this
just
is
so
a team who's just
streaky,
been
bro.
massacred
They're
by the
just so
Cowboys.
They're
It's just
so
too much
streaky.
inconsistency and injuries, so I placed them a little lower at
And-
19. But I think they could still win this division. The NFC East is
The
so
NFC
weak.
East is so weak that the G-Men can still win the division.
Well, hey, G-Man going to win the division.
First, they need to win a game.
Right.
Again.
Right.
All right,
Okay.
but
They did lose to the Cardinals.
Okay.
yeah,
Where we at?
number 19.
Number 19.
I have the Jags. So
You have the Jags.
I have a little.
little
Wait.
self-explanatory.
We're still on 19.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still
I
on
thought we were moving on. My bad.
Yeah, no. I have the Jags
like, I had the
mainly
Browns
because
here. We
they
just
still
talked
have pieces of that dominant defense.
But
And
they've also lost some guys.
yeah, they've
especially
also lost
Ramsey.
some guys. They still
Need
Jalen
pieces.
to see
Ramsey.
more
They have
from the
enough
defense.
to still have a solid
Need to
defense.
see more from the
Guard-
defense.
Gardner Minshew has looked.
That's my boy, but like, I just want him to just thrive.
I don't.
He's
been
like,
balling, though.
he's the ultimate, like, I said this before, he's the ultimate, like, frat bro quarterback.
the most interesting quarterback
You know?
in the world.
He's the most interesting but he gets the job done.
Did you hear that interview he talked about where he tried to break his hand so he could save
Yeah.
the eligibility?
Yeah.
He
So
took
you
a
could what?
bottle of Jack Daniels and took a hammer
Why?
and was smashing his own hand.
That is a
His
frat
own
bro
hand.
mentality.
So that because his quarterback coach asked him to go into the game when the starter got hurt, but he wanted to redshirt to save a year of eligibility. And he knew he would only get to play like one game and then the other guy would be back from injury. And so, Gardner was like, I don't want to risk one game
Yep.
for a year and lose a
When
year of
was this?
eligibility because this was before the new redshirt rule
Yeah.
came in where you could play 4 games. And so he took a hammer and tried to smash his own hand.
Yep.
Gardner is just a guy.
He is a frat bro.
Gardner's the man.
All
All right, we shall move on to
18.
18.
I got Oakland.
I have Oakland.
I think this
Hey!
is a perfect spot for Oakland. They
Yeah.
got blown
Let's
out
go.
by the
Pretty-
Packers.
Middle of the pack.
But they've showed some ups and downs. Like they had some nice wins over Denver and who
They're-
did they beat? Chicago. Like those were
Honestly,
solid games.
after losing out in
They're
that
solid.
Antonio
Gruden's
Brown thing,
improving it.
they've become really gritty.
Josh Jacobs
They've
has
become
been
really gritty.
phenomenal as a rookie.
Antonio Brown is a cancer to the locker room, and
Oh, man,
it's
yeah.
actually been helpful that they've gotten rid of him.
I think we also have to add this though. They drafted some interesting choices, and they had a lot of first round draft
Cleveland
picks.
Farrell.
Cleveland Farrell at number 4. He's had the lowest defensive end win rate against offensive tackles in the entire NFL for rookie defensive ends this year, rookie edge players. It's kind of disappointing to be honest with you. But at the same time, guys like Josh Jacobs, he's been killing it.
yeah, he's putting up like insane.
They could have gotten
numbers.
Josh Jacobs. They could have gotten Devin Bush. All these guys they could have gotten and just didn't.
Josh Allen, you mean?
Or
Yeah.
I feel like
Josh
John-
Allen.
John Gruden's doing a good job of
With
taking
the
it year
offense,
by
yeah.
year. I mean,
I don't think they have a ton of talent on the
he
roster.
knows he has 10 years too, so he's taking it by increment. He's not just
Yeah.
trying to make huge leaps. He's really turning it around.
Okay. 18?
17.
Or 17, yeah, my bad.
Philadelphia.
Philly.
I had Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pete.
I have Jacksonville here.
I have Jacksonville here too, actually.
too
I
high.
just
A little
put them
high
a
for
little bit
Jacksonville.
higher because,
Too high.
like you said, I love Garden.
I know.
You know?
Looking at it now,
And they're
it's a
still
little too
they're still in
high.
this division race. I
Love
think they're
Garden.
sitting at 3-4 right now, and they get the Jets this next week. So if they can be sitting at 4-4, 500, the division the could totally
They're
win a
not
couple
winning.
games. And
They're
sneak
not
in.
winning
I mean,
the division.
I don't think
with
they'll win the
Houston
division
and
with
Indianapolis
Houston.
there.
Yeah, but Houston,
Indy-
and
Indy's
are
been
just
playing
too
so
inconsistent for me. The AFC South just always.
So
goes
is
wild every year.
Jacksonville.
Like
Yeah.
Indy's the type of team to lose to Oakland and then turn around and beat Kansas City.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think Jacksonville's just really.
But that's kind of
rallying
been
around
like the
Gardner.
name for this season with a lot of teams. It's like
Yeah.
a lot of teams have just like had streaky years.
Nah, not my team.
Not my team either.
My
Alright.
team
Yeah,
hasn't been
Gi-
streaky.
Giant-
They've just consistently lost.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Go G-Men.
Number 16, the exact middle
16.
of the pack. I have the Chicago Bears.
Me too.
Yeah.
Really?
I had Chicago.
I have Detroit.
Detroit. I
Okay.
put them a little bit higher.
I put
I'd
I put
them
I put them
one
at
spot
15.
higher.
yeah.
I have
That's where
Chicago,
that's where I had
like,
Detroit.
one
I
or two
have Detroit at 15.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Detroit?
I think Stafford's been balling. this
Stafford
year.
has been
Yeah.
balling.
He's
He's
been
had
one of
his
the best
comeback
ballers.
year.
I don't
I mean,
like the defense.
With Jim Bob Cooter, they tried to turn him into like a quick throw West Coast offense.
That's not him.
But Stafford's biggest strength is his arm talent. The dude can sling it. I mean, I remember on the first drive of the game against Green Bay on Monday Night Football, he threw like a 70-yard pass. I mean, the guy has just got a cannon, and he's what 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions this year.
I really don't like the defense.
He slaying that thing.
You're absolutely right, Peter. They let up like 42 points.
Yeah, that
against the
defense is
Vikings.
bad.
Yeah, no, the defense is terrible. Name one person on that defense, Peter.
Darius Slay.
Oh man,
Trey Flowers.
Yeah.
Trey Flowers.
Trey Flowers.
He got those 2 hands to the face calls.
I
That was
just-
some wackiness.
I don't like their defense. It's pretty weak.
Yeah.
It's pretty awful.
We had Chicago because of Trubisky.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Chicago-
biscuit.
Defense is
Looking
good.
at
They're
Biscuit
just
is
exactly
not
middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Their defense is phenomenal, but they just have such a bad offense. It's
really
embarrassingly bad.
I look back at Mr. Biscuit's draft class and I wonder, why was he considered a premier quarterback in that draft class?
he looked out of college. He had a good arm. He threw like
He looked
had
the
like
part.
touchdowns.
He had
did
like
look the part.
Daniel Jones
He looked
stats
the
out
part.
of college.
I mean, here's the problem. though,
Daniel,
Fletch.
look at what Daniel Jones is doing.
Yeah, and the thing is, the problem they had with
Pat
Pat Mahomes
Mahomes.
was he was playing in the Big 12 and just chucking the ball 80 times a game, and he showed a ton of arm talent. But when you're throwing that, like, look at all these spread offense guys in college today who would just throw the ball,
Will Greer.
80 times. Like Anthony Gordon at Washington State, who just played.
Anthony,
Like he
Luke
leads
Falk.
the FBS in
Luke
touchdown
Falk.
passes. Luke Falk he's up there for most career touchdown passes by like a player in FBS history. He's one of the top guys,
Awful.
and he's good, but it's just the offense throws the ball so much.
Agreed.
But yeah, Mahomes, Watson, those guys would have been much better than
and
Trubisky.
then Mitchell Trubisky.
And move on to 15, where we have Detroit and he is Chicago, which we just
I
talked
have
about.
Kansas City.
At 15.
At 15?
You Chicago higher than Kansas City.
And you put Kansas
Wait,
City
wait,
that
wait,
low.
wait. This is Kansas City with Matt Moore. we're
Yeah,
talking
this
about.
is Kansas
Kansas
City
City
with
with
Matt.
Oh.
Matt Moore still dropping dimes, man.
With Pat Mahomes, I'd probably put him top 7-ish.
That's around where I had him.
But
yeah, well,
without
so
Pat
are you
Mahomes,
saying
it's tough.
in your rankings right now, Chuck, you're rating them if they had Pat Mahomes?
I'm rating them just like based on how they've done.
Because I have the
It's
Chiefs at
tough.
14, my next team with
It's
Matt
tough.
You have
Moore.
the Chiefs
That
at
is
14.
It is
Okay.
tough without Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. I'm just counting on like what they're gonna end up with, because like when Pat Mahomes
Yeah.
comes back,
Yeah,
that's what I'm counting on. That's why I have them like in my top 10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
my
just
problem with
nervous.
the Chiefs,
The defense is so bad.
the defense.
The
is
defense
just-
has been
They are
disappointing.
the
Defense
worst
is terrible.
rushing
They have
defense
been
in the
really
game, and this is the problem. Teams just run the ball against them and keep Mahomes off the
They
field.
can't
If
do
you look at the
anything.
Indy KC game, it was 19-13. Just looking at the score, you'd say,
Yeah.
okay, that's not on the KCD. They only let up 19 points. The offense has to score more. The
But
offense held
they-
the ball for
they
like
were
20
giving up
minutes of the game.
10-minute drives.
Marlon Mack had 170 rushing yards. The Colts would do these 9-minute drives that ended in a field goal. The way to beat Mahomes is just keep him on the sideline.
Keep him on the
And we saw this in the
sideline.
AFC
Don't let him
Championship
play.
last year when the Pats won the coin toss.
Yeah.
Mahomes just couldn't take the field.
Yeah.
We all know. I'm pretty sure we are all fairly confident that if Mahomes takes that ball in overtime, they go to the
They
Super
score.
Bowl.
Totally.
They go to the Super
Win
Bowl.
the
That's
Super
not
Bowl.
what happened.
All right,
But,
number
I got the
14.
Chiefs at 14.
14 out Chicago. I should put them lower.
14?
I really,
14.
I mean, Chicago's defense is
no,
phenomenal.
but looking at
Dallas.
Trubisky now,
Okay.
I'm disappointed. Trubisky
Okay.
is really bad.
I had Buffalo at 14.
Ooh, that is
Ooh,
way
that is
too
way too
low.
low.
Buffalo.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Buffalo's
They're 5
sitting
and
at
1.
5-1, which
Yeah.
is a nice record.
It's a great record.
And so I put them in my top 7.
Okay.
But the truth is, Chuck, Buffalo has not beaten anybody.
They've not
They
beaten
beat the
anybody.
Bengals, the Giants,
Barely beat the Jets.
the Jets. These
Yeah.
are all
Barely
weak
beat
teams.
the Jets.
Yeah.
Now, the only
That's-
thing
that's
holding,
why I
the
put them
only
so
thing
low.
that's holding them up is that they had a good loss against the Pats in a very close game.
Yep.
So I can see it, but I think as of now, like, I'm concerned with Buffalo when they play real teams, but I put them higher just based on what they've done so
Yeah.
far.
My 14 Dallas Cowboys, pretty self-explanatory. They're
I have
rare.
them one higher.
I had
They're
Dallas.
very-
I had Dallas a few spots higher.
They're
I've Dallas
very
13.
they're very streaky.
I had
They're
Dallas a little bit higher.
inconsistent. Dak Prescott is still benefiting from Zeke and the best offensive line in football and a top 10
very
wide
average,
receiver.
Dak Prescott.
He is so unbelievably average. If a dictionary had a picture of an average quarterback, it would be Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I mean,
It
I
would
think
be Jimmy Garoppolo.
if you look at
Jimmy
Pro Football Focus,
Garoppolo is the greatest quarterback of all
Jimmy
time. How dare
Garoppolo
you?
leads the league in turnovers since he became a starting quarterback. Here's the thing with Dallas. It's the coaching. You look at this roster, Pro Football Focus before the season picked them to play the Patriots in the Super Bowl because their defense is insanely talented. Their offense, one of the best O-lines in the league, one of the best running backs in the league. Amari Cooper's one of the sweetest route runners in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, this team has all the pieces. It's just the coaching. You look at the Dallas game against the Jets, they lost by 2. I think there was a play where Jason Garrett went for it and didn't get it on 4th down when he could have kicked a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then they didn't get the 2-point conversion at the end of the game. I mean, Jason Garrett has just blown games for this team so many times.
Jason Garrett needs to go, but he's Jerry's little pet.
I mean, as a Giants fan, I want the guy to sign a 20-year extension.
Yeah.
The Cowboys have not won a game. They have not advanced to the NFC Championship since 1995.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Garrett is a huge part of that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
All right.
number 13, I have the Rams.
I have the Rams.
That's where I have Dallas.
13? Yeah, I had Dallas at 13.
So I have the Rams at 13 because people have. It's gotten to the point where, first off, Todd Gurley is not what he used to be.
No.
No,
That
the arthritis in his knee is just
that
completely
injury
changed him.
has changed him immensely.
Jared Goff is starting to show his
Their
true
defense,
colors.
their
Oh, Lord.
defense is their defense has taken is now. I'm expecting to take a pretty nice step with the acquisition of
Ramsey.
Jalen Ramsey.
Mm-hmm.
However, he's not going to be enough. People are starting to
No.
figure out Sean McVay. He's not the super genius that he once used to be.
Well, when they say figure out too, part of it is McVay's offense heavily relies on that outside run game, and then the play action passes built off of that for Goff. And without Gurley at 100%, they just don't have the same run game, and so Goff can't get going in the play action.
Exactly. They would run that outside zone.
Gurley used to fit the system really well, but
Yeah.
since the arthritis.
Yeah, I actually have the Rams a little bit higher though,
Yeah.
just because, like you said, I think
That's
with
fair.
Ramsey, their defense is going to be fantastic soon, and I think Wade Phillips is great, and they just blew out Atlanta. I know Atlanta's very bad, but they held them to like 3 points or something.
That's
in
fair.
Atlanta, and I think this
They
is
don't
still
have
a
an
team.
offense, though.
I think this is still a team that went to the Super Bowl last year, and so
Yeah.
I put
They're
them at
having
like
a Super
11.
Bowl
you
hangover,
know?
though.
Okay.
They are, like,
We moving on.
they got killed by
We
the
moving on to
Niners.
12.
We've already
12, I
talked
put
about
Houston.
I have
Texans.
Dallas.
12, I have the Carolina Panthers.
I have-
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have Panthers higher?
I have Panthers
I have
top 10.
Panthers
too.
10. Los Angeles Rams I have at 12.
You have Rams at 12.
You have the Rams
Is there
at
anything you want to
12.
add on the
I
Rams?
had Dallas. We already talked about Dallas.
Their defense, I don't know how I feel about it. The Rams,
Rams
it's
defense?
pretty sporadic.
I mean, 55 to the Bucks. Like,
Yeah,
what the
that's
heck happened
pretty
in
bad.
that game?
Yeah.
Jameis Winston?
I mean, last year they held the Patriots to, what, like 10 or 13
13
in
in
the
the
Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
Which, that's pretty good.
It's
But-
just because Tom Brady's a system quarterback and really isn't like good.
Excuse me.
Alrighty. But I had
what
I had
did
the
you
Houston
just say?
Texans at 12. And I think Deshaun Watson has been playing like an MVP this year. I love
Oh, yeah,
Deshaun,
he's an MVP.
and I love
for
DeAndre
sure.
Hopkins too, but this team is just so inconsistent for me. And
I
I
agree.
don't believe in Bill
As
Bryant.
is every AFC South
I
team.
mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's so, like...
Gotta love JJ Watt with the
After they
defense.
beat the Texans, everybody's like, oh, they're going to beat the Colts, seize the division. I'm like, no, this team is just going to turn around
They
and
need-
flop.
they
They
need-
always do this.
They need one more piece.
Yeah,
Maybe,
I mean,
maybe
I
it's
mean,
no
Will
lineman. Maybe
Fuller.
it's
Will
run game.
Fuller's
Maybe
great,
it's
but
a,
he's
maybe
not
it's a
their
corner.
Well,
own-
what happened? Like, what?
They
He
got
has
Laramie
one
Tunsil.
amazing game.
That's
Where is
true.
he the rest of the
Amazing.
season?
the
Big,
story
big
of his
boy.
career has been injuries.
Large man.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
Will Fuller will put up, what, like 200 yards and like 4 touchdowns, and then he won't do anything the next week.
Yeah, they're just inconsistent. As is every
I
AFC
think the
South
Texans'
team. They're just,
defense is
That's
too
why
average,
I have the Texans
and I think
one higher.
their run game
Yeah.
is too weak for them to be higher for me.
Yeah.
But I do like what Deshaun Watson's doing a lot, and so I put them at 12.
So we at 11 now.
11.
This is where I had the Texans.
That's where I have the Texans as
I
well.
have the Colts at 11.
Dude, where are?
I put the Rams at 11.
Okay.
You know, I just gave
All-
them the
all your
benefit
top-
of the
all
doubt over
your-
the Texans.
Like top 20 or my top 10? Like, bro,
Jacoby Brissett, he's just he's done.
how do you not like Jacoby Brissett?
He's done a good job of filling in for Andrew
Yeah,
Luck. He doesn't have the same spark. I feel like that locker room
Well, I
isn't
mean-
quite behind him.
It's
as
his
they were
first
with
year as a
Andrew
starter.
Luck.
I think the locker room's behind him. When you say he doesn't quite have that same spark, Andrew Luck was phenomenal last year. He was second in the league in touchdown passes
Exactly.
for 39. But Jacoby Brissett's second in the league in touchdown passes so far this season with 14 to only 3 interceptions. The guy's been balling. He threw 4 touchdowns, no picks, and got him a dub against the Texans last week to
What's
seize the
wrong
division.
with the
They
team,
need a
man?
run game.
Yeah,
The run game's strong with Marlon Mack, and the offensive line's
So
great.
what's the problem?
T.Y. Hilton's
Their
good.
defense.
T.Y.
Their
Hilton's
defense.
Their defense is their problem,
The
and their
defense-
defense is bad.
It's hard to win a
defense is
championship
Hilton.
without a defense.
The defense
Hold up
is
with those fantasy
inconsistent.
points, bro.
The defense is inconsistent because they've had good games against teams like the Chiefs. They really like
They
the
really
Chiefs,
have.
and they
They
had
have.
like 5 sacks on Mahomes.
They just have that AFC South curse of inconsistency and
Yeah.
sadness, and never ever gonna win a Super Bowl in the AFC.
But
How do you
I
have
like
Indy
the
that
Colts.
low?
I have the Colts at 10. I have the Colts at 10.
At 10, I have Seattle.
At 10, I have Carolina.
At 10, I have the Chiefs.
With Matt Moore? Or with Mahomes?
Just overall between the two of them, like just
Okay.
sort of how they
I agree with
performed.
that,
Like
yeah.
they lost to the Texans,
The Colts.
the Colts. It's just they haven't. They've been outstanding on offense, but their defense is their run defense is just
So
it's
bad.
atrocious. They can put up 40 points a game and probably still lose.
Yeah,
6.
like last year against the Rams.
Yeah,
Well, I
What
think
is
another
that?
very concerning thing is the lack of run offense, and you'll see this because they have to pass so much. Is they're 3 and out now, and that's the troubling thing because when the Colts, for example, have a 9-minute drive and score a touchdown, and then they kick off, and the Chiefs have to pass 3 times because Damian Williams is averaging 3 yards a carry.
Right.
They'll throw 3 incompletes every now and then the Colts get the ball right back and drive down for another 9 minutes.
Exactly.
It just keeps Mahomes off the field.
imagine-
With Kareem Hunt last year,
Yeah.
I bet they would have won the Super Bowl. With Hunt.
imagine if Kareem Hunt never became a kicker.
Oh,
Just imagine if Kareem
Kick of
Hunt.
the year.
Okay,
Kick of the
this
year.
is a family show,
Yes,
Fletch.
yes.
Okay, yeah. I kind of had Seattle just like for the same reasons we've been talking about, just like the inconsistency. And I mean, they've
Before
Wait,
Seattle
at 10?
lost to Baltimore, where did
they've-
you have them?
I had them honestly probably like higher in the top 10, probably like
Top
around
5.
like no, not top 5, probably around like 6 or 7.
Before they lost to Baltimore.
Yeah.
That loss
That's a solid-
was
I
big
think
for
it
them.
exposed their defense.
It really
But
did.
I just think
Russell Wilson
Baltimore's
has
a
had
great
one of
team.
his
He looked very
better
human in
seasons.
that game.
He's
Well,
had one of
he's
his
been
better
phenomenal
seasons.
otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, my number 10.
Tyler Lockett's been really well or done really well as well.
Yeah. My
Tyler Lockett is a specimen.
Yeah.
He really is.
Right.
But it really exposed like the Legion of Boom or whatever they call themselves. Yeah.
Okay, so who do you guys have at 9?
I have Indy.
The
Yeah.
Texans.
Yeah.
I have Carolina.
I
I
also
have Carolina at 10. So.
y'all sleeping on Carolina. I also have Indy.
Pete, do you want to talk about Carolina a little bit? Can you
Carolina
talk about
is
it?
going to be smacked by the
Dude,
Niners.
stop hating on
Carolina-
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey.
I've been hating
really
on
good.
Christian McCaffrey since you were at Stanford.
McCaffrey-
I loved him at Stanford.
McCaffrey's
As a
the
Duck
best
fan,
running
I
back
can
in the
still
league.
say I
It's true,
loved
yeah.
Christian
I've
McCaffrey.
destroyed us so many
I
times.
don't
though.
understand.
I
how
know, but he's
Carolina
so
can
good.
Lose. Like Carolina is so talented between Christian.
They
McCaffrey.
have one of the top pass defenses in the
I know
league,
they're
too.
top. They have Luke Kuechly.
Luke Kuechly's
in the
a
middle.
boss.
They have Christian McCaffrey, who
One of the
is-
probably the best running back in the league with Saquon sideline.
yeah, he's really good.
Even when Saquon's been healthy,
Giants.
I
this
gotta
year,
say,
Christian
Kyle
has
Allen-
outperformed Saquon.
Kyle Allen turned around their offense. I know that
yeah.
he probably doesn't have as high of a ceiling as Cam Newton, but
Super
I
Bam
think
Bam Cam.
when they had Cam in the offense, the defense had to focus so much on the mesh between Cam and Christian, and
Right.
Cam running the ball out of there. And I
Yeah.
think Kyle Allen has just really sparked.
Kyle
the
Allen's
passing
really
game.
done well.
He's involving
Yeah.
all the receivers.
Yeah.
He's pretty
and this
consistent.
and this
He's
isn't
pretty
the best
consistent.
receiving core. Like it's Carolina's receiving core. They've been mediocre for years, but
Yeah.
Kyle Allen has been able to make it work. Kyle Allen has been a very good quarterback.
I think he's the only guy.
And
in
they
the
finally
NFL
they're
with
starting
no
to use like
touchdowns, or
McCaffrey
no
like he was
interceptions
used in
left.
college too, which I really
Kyle
appreciate
Allen
because I love
is,
Christian
like,
McCaffrey.
the most consistent. He's pretty
All
consistent.
right.
He's had a
Yeah.
bit of a fumble problem, but otherwise he's been good. All the
Yeah.
rookie quarterbacks have been fumbling.
Yeah,
All right, so is that good for
yeah.
number 9?
This is number 8
All right.
now.
So number 8, I have the Seattle Seahawks.
I have Seattle here too.
I have Buffalo.
I have Minnesota.
Minnesota. I have them higher.
Dude.
Yeah.
So tell me why you have Minnesota at 8, Chuck.
Oh, let me look up their record real
They're
quick.
5-2.
They're 5-2.
They have a
6-2,
really smart
6-2
defense.
after
They do have a
They
smart
have like the
defense.
smartest
Redskins on
defense.
I'm not a big fan of Kirk Cousins.
I agree.
Never
I'm
have
gonna
been a
be
big
honest.
fan of
I'm
Kirk
gonna be
Cousins. I'm
honest
not a
with you.
believer. I'm not a believer.
I'm not a
Captain
Kirk believer
I love Dalvin Cook. That is my bright spot from their offense.
I've had many arguments with one of my good friends over Kirk Cousins.
What's up, Conlon?
Shout out to my boy Conlon.
He thinks Kirk Cousins is like a top 5 quarterback. You know, he's out here saying Captain Kirk slang that thing. You know? And I'm like, no.
Conlon, don't get triggered at me, bro. I don't see it.
He's been balling this year.
This past
Thank
few
you,
weeks.
Fletcher. I have the Minnesota Vikings at number 5 in my
He has such a good receiving
Kirk
core.
Cousins in completion percentage,
Which is what
second
my
in the
argument
league,
has
passing
been.
yards per attempt, first in the league, passing touchdowns, first in the league, passer rating, first in the league.
Okay, but
Cousins has been balling.
he's got the 2 best route runners in the NFL.
Totally. I will not deny that.
Stephon Diggs
He's also
is
got Kyle
complete.
Diggs,
Rudolph.
and I'm
He's
not
also
trying
got
to tell
Dalvin
you-
Cook.
Diggs is a beast.
I'm not trying to tell you he's the best quarterback in the league,
Which he's
but
not.
He's been playing statistically like one of the top 2 or 3 guys.
Yes.
And I think
he has.
if
He's not
he can
clutch,
just be,
though.
he's not clutch and he's not good in prime time.
And-
But if he can just be like a top 8 guy with the talent they have around him, like you said, Dalvin Cook I think leads the league in rushing yards. Okay,
Does he?
Like
Minnesota
you said,
should be
Fletch,
7-0.
they have 2 of the best
They
receivers
should
in the
be.
league.
They could
And they're
easily
they're
be 7-0.
underperforming.
And this
They are
defense is phenomenal.
underperforming for
They
their talent.
blew out the Philadelphia Eagles, who are a good team. They beat the Giants in New York, which, you know, the Giants aren't very good. It was a solid win. You know, it was a solid win.
Yeah.
Like, this Minnesota team is really starting to come
It's-
together.
no,
They
but-
beat the Lions by 12, and the Lions are solid. You know? They scored 42 points on them. Captain Kirk's just been really balling these
They
last
should
few
be
weeks.
7-0. I feel like they could easily be 7-0.
The
They really
Vikings.
could.
The Vikings.
I mean, yeah, if you look at their 2 losses at Green Bay and at Chicago, neither of
At
those are too bad.
Green Bay was a tough game.
They should beat Chicago.
At Green Bay, that's one of the toughest games right now. It's a top 3 tough game. At Lambeau with this Green Bay team,
Yeah.
if they went in and won that, like, what didn't Philly go in and do that?
Philly did.
Yeah, Philly wouldn't
Phil's
do
the
that.
only team to beat
That-
Green
They're
Bay.
the only team to beat Green Bay. It's insane. But if Minnesota did that, they would easily, I think, be considered a top 3 team.
Okay.
So, Fletch, you and I had Seattle at 8, though.
Yeah.
I think
That high?
Seattle's been
Okay.
playing well. I
I've
think
them
it's a
at
little
7.
concerning at how they're beating everybody by such slim margins.
I
That's
know.
true.
They
You know,
beat
like they beat the Bengals by like 1, but Wilson has just been phenomenal.
Wilson's
He's
been
the
so
MVP
good.
of the season so far.
Russell Wilson is my MVP.
Unless
candidate.
the Panthers win the division.
But the concerning thing about the Seahawks is when you
Christian McCaffrey.
when you look at the roster,
Defense really isn't.
Their
and the
division,
second half-
not the same,
Like,
but like their division.
They're known usually for their defense, but their second half defense has kind of disappointed.
their
been
secondary is very
Yeah.
weak.
It's just been
Their
Yeah.
secondary.
And
is
they've-
very
They
you
only
look-
beat the Bengals by 1.
They are
beat
getting
the Browns
old,
by 4.
Scotty.
If you take all the like opponents from Seattle and San Francisco, there's your difference right there. San Francisco's been blowing them out.
Yeah.
Seattle's been winning by 2,
1 or 2.
3, 4, 1.
And when you look at
It's-
Seattle's offense outside of Russell Wilson, the offensive line is weak. The
Mm-hmm.
run game's solid, but Chris Carson's been fumbling a bit this year.
Yeah.
And the receiving core,
Is
I
Tyler
like
Lockett.
guys like Lockett, and I
Lockett's
like
so
Metcalf. He's coming on, but the receiving core is not phenomenal.
No.
You know,
Russell
they don't
Wilson's
have
really
a ton of
carrying
weapons around Wilson, and the defense is just meh.
Russell
about-
Wilson should play baseball too.
Wait, what about their game against
He's
the
on the
Ravens?
Yankees.
What
Yeah,
happened
but he never
against
plays.
the Ravens?
That was the thing too that scared me because the Ravens D had not been that good this year.
No, they
The-
really
The
hadn't.
Browns scored 40 on them,
Mm-hmm.
and the Seahawks just couldn't score.
I
Wilson
actually-
looked very human in that game.
I have the Ravens next, so that's perfect segue.
Yeah, I had the Ravens
At 7?
6.
Yeah, I had.
Oh,
Buffalo.
it's six. We're at
Yeah.
6 now.
No, we're at 7.
We're at
but I'm
7,
just
yeah.
saying, I
We're
put
at
them
7.
What
6.
about Buffalo?
Yeah,
I put
at
Buffalo at 7.
I-
Number
Not
7,
I have the
number
Ravens at
7.
7.
Looking back at this, I put this together a couple of days ago. I actually think I would have put them higher, but at number 7 I have the Vikings, mainly
Okay.
because they should be higher.
Yeah.
It's just my own inherent bias against Kirk Cousins.
Yes.
So I'm actually gonna make a switch.
No, don't make a switch.
So
Do it, Fletch.
my new number 7.
Trash Kirk Cousins.
My new number 7. I'm actually
Don't do it.
switching to the Buffalo Bills.
I had
Y'all
them
have
at
the
8.
Bills
I have the Bills at
so.
7. Pete,
so-
talk to me about the Bills.
Y'all have the Bills so high.
I wanted to put them a little bit higher
have
than
the Bills
8,
so
but
high.
they were losing to the
It's
Jets.
just
They are not a
you
good
look-
team.
That's
you just-
disappointing.
You look
They
at,
are not
you look
good.
at the Bills.
They are
you
so
say,
overrated.
Can they beat any of the teams in front of them?
No.
No.
No, they can't.
They
You
can't.
put them at 7 or 8. They can't beat the teams in front of
I
them.
don't know if they can beat Houston or Carolina.
They definitely
They
will
could.
not.
They'd put up
Yeah.
a fight.
I mean, the
They
truth
have a
with
good
the Bills
defense.
is they haven't
have a
played
good
anybody
defense.
except for the Pats, and their good loss against the Pats.
Their
holding
good
them
loss
up.
against the Pats.
But
It was
At
a
the same
respectable
time,
loss
I
because
do
the
love-
Patriots still really
I do love the Bills.
Fairly
They only
beat
lost
them.
by 6
Sean
to the
McDermott.
Pats.
Sean McDermott's been doing a great job with this team. And the defense has looked very strong so far. Josh Allen has just had some consistency issues, especially with
Josh
the
Allen's had
turnovers.
consistency issues for his entire life.
Yeah.
I'm
And
still-
like you said, Chuck, I think this team could definitely drop a few spots, especially with the game against the Eagles this week coming up. The Eagles, Eagles.
We gotta stop
have
talking about
a
the
ton of
Eagles,
talent,
dude.
But okay.
I'm still the Bills.
Okay, where we at? 6?
6. I have the Ravens.
I do too. I have the Ravens. I have them one spot
I
ahead
have
of
the
the
Ravens at
Seahawks
6.
because
This is where
they beat
I
the
have
Seahawks.
Carolina.
Carolina. Wow.
That's a
You
lot.
were
That
really
is a
right.
lot.
I'm really
McCaffrey.
riding the Christian
That's a little
McCaffrey
high.
bandwagon, dude.
That is a lot.
You know, I
high.
can
Maybe
buy it, though.
maybe a
It's
spot too
little
high, but
wrong.
you know what?
I
Who
can't
knows?
buy it though because
I
the
can't
Niners are just.
They have this game against the Bills in a few weeks, Peter.
We'll see.
They have this game against the Bills coming up, dude.
Go and throw 2 interceptions and they'll still drop 30 on them Panthers. They're. Yeah. It's
What's the
just,
score? I would like to switch the Panthers and the Ravens.
point in case right there.
The
Jimmy
score-
G, he's a winner.
Current score is 21-3. The 49ers are winning. So yeah, I would like to switch the Ravens and the Panthers.
So,
I still love Christian McCaffrey.
That really
though.
hurts.
no.
Still love Christian
Okay.
McCaffrey.
I don't understand how that happens. Carolina really is getting.
It's
They're getting
it's
relegated
defense.
by the
Games-
best
games
team
not
in the
over.
league.
Game's enough.
False.
Okay, number 5.
Wait, Pete, talk to me about Baltimore at 6.
I just have them ahead of the Seahawks. I was going to put them below, but once they beat the Seahawks by 2 touchdowns, I just had to say they're better than the Seahawks.
Lamar's being kind of slept on too. If you look at him, he's got almost 500 passing yards. He's
Rushing
got
yards.
Oh yeah, rushing yards. He's got over 1,000 passing yards. He's got more rushing yards than
He's
the
pretty
Chiefs, the Chargers, like all these teams. He's been amazing, and he's quite frankly like 5th in my MVP voting this year.
Lamar?
He's been an X
He's very
factor for them.
improved.
He's
Well,
shown that he's
passing,
more.
yeah.
He's shown that he's more than just a running back in the Wildcat.
Yeah.
I think a concerning thing about Baltimore is the defense, especially the run defense.
I know
they
that. I didn't think that was
gashed
going to be
by
a
Nick
problem.
Chubb. And I think that one of the interesting things with Baltimore, too, is they weren't beating a ton of teams by a lot. Like, they escaped the Steelers, who, we have pretty low. And I honestly had them at, 10 going into the game with the Seahawks. They lost to the Browns and the Steelers, who are not that great of teams. But then they just went into Seattle and killed Seattle. And so, to be honest with you, I had to put them at 6. It was a very impressive win.
Okay, so we're at number 5 now.
Yep.
All right.
Number 5,
This is where I have KC.
This is where I have Minnesota.
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 Minnesota just has the smartest defense. And you just
I love
look,
them.
they just know what they're doing. When you watch them, they just look like they know where everything's going. And the defensive linemen don't just give up once the running back goes outside. You'll see Everson Griffin
hustle.
will go
They hustle.
to the outside. They all hustle to stop the ball.
Their defense has been amazing. They also have a top 3 receiving core in football. Dalvin Cook has shown to be a top 3.
Their
He's
only
shown to
real
be a top 3
weakness
running
is
back
the
in
offensive
football.
line.
Yeah.
That's their only weakness. Captain Kirk, he'll get the job done as much as I
As long
hate
as
to
it's
say.
not a primetime game.
As long as
Stop
it's
it.
not a primetime game or
It's
in the
not
4th
good.
quarter, he'll do what he needs to do.
Okay, so I just want to ask this now.
Okay.
Do all 3 of you guys also have 4-3-2-1 as Green Bay, New Orleans, San Francisco, and New England?
Yes,
I
I
do.
knew.
Wait, Green Bay, New Orleans, San Francisco. I do not, actually.
Oh,
I
Chuck.
do- I do put
Do you have
Green
Green
Bay
Bay
ahead.
at 3?
I have Green Bay at 4.
We do
Yeah,
too.
because
We do
Green
too.
Bay
Yep.
beat them head to head.
He's
Don't
got the
tell me
same.
that
I got-
Niners and
I got the Saints ahead of the Niners. I got the Saints ahead of the Niners.
I can buy it.
No, I can't buy
No,
that. They're
I can't buy-
undefeated.
The Niners
Well,
are
wait a
undefeated.
I
Their
don't
defense
care.
Niners
They're
have
undefeated.
Niners have not played any good teams. I'm
Well,
sorry.
Well, when you
going
say the
undefeated.
Niners
Sorry.
have not played good
Pound.
teams, this isn't like college football where you play a Division II opponent to start.
You have
the game.
Every
to play
team
your
can win.
Everybody, the
Every-
NFL,
Well, like
it's a
you know what
lively
I'm
league.
saying.
Anybody
It's
can
know what
hard
I'm
to go
saying.
6
I get what you're saying,
It
but if
is.
you're going to
It
bring
is
that up,
hard
then
to
how
go
come the
6
Saints
and
aren't
6.
ahead of the Patriots? Because the Patriots haven't played anybody.
Hey, because the
The
Patriots are always good.
The
So you're giving them the benefit of
Pats'
the doubt.
opponents' combined record is like
I just
3-22.
But Chuck,
49ers beat
I
the
can
Browns
buy the
31
Saints
to 3.
too.
Yeah.
They blew
49ers
out Chicago at Chicago.
Other than the hiccup against the Rams, I think that
But
they've
that
done
game,
they've done
they had
so
to
well.
switch quarterbacks in the middle of the game.
Listen, they beat the Buccaneers by 2 touchdowns. They killed the Bengals. They killed the Browns, and they beat the Rams by a good margin.
Didn't the Saints
The-
lose
the
to
Niners?
the Rams?
The Niners, yeah.
Yeah,
the
we
Niners.
just talked about
They had
that.
to switch
They
quarterbacks.
had to
switch
in the middle of
quarterbacks.
the game.
The Saints lost to the Rams, and the
Teddy
Niners
Bridgewater
shut down
did
their
what?
They
offense
had to
after-
put in Teddy Bridgewater.
They-
Teddy Bridgewater's
Plus,
good.
the
Teddy,
thing-
Teddy
they
Bridgewater
okay.
didn't have like
Plus,
that
the thing
week
that
of being the
scares me
starting
about
quarterback.
the Niners is Jimmy Garoppolo.
He wasn't
Jimmy
prepared.
Garoppolo
Big
goes
games.
to you,
The
sir.
guy has just turned over the ball more
Dude,
than any other starting
Jimmy
quarterback.
G's so.
And
Not more
the
than Baker.
defense has been phenomenal. The run game
The
has been
okay,
good.
I will give you that. The defense has been fantastic for
But
the,
it's
Their
just-
defense
I
is-
love Matt Breida.
I'm scared
I
of
love
them
Matt
having
Breida.
to
And
win
Nick
a close
Bosa's-
game,
or Joey
and they're
Bosa's
relying
good.
on Jimmy
It's
G
Joe,
to
it's
drive
Joey
them down
Bosa,
the field.
right?
No, Nick
Well,
Bosa's
they
on
didn't
the
have to
49ers.
Nick
rely on
Bosa's
that
on
because
the
their
49ers.
defense
Where's
is going to
Joey's
be
in-
shutting.
where's Joey?
Shutting
Chargers.
kids
Chargers.
down.
That's
Virtually the same.
They're first exactly like
If
they're,
you look at their
when
they're both
vertical
great.
sides, they're
The
basically the
Patriots
same.
in
They're
the
both
Super Bowl,
fantastic
and they're both
defenders.
18-0.
When they meet the Pats in the
when
Super
they
Bowl,
meet the Pats in the Super
Slow
Bowl.
down, slow down.
When they
boys.
meet the Pats in the Super
When
Bowl.
What
they
about
meet the
Matt
Pats in
Breida?
the
Matt
Super Bowl.
Breida is so
Because
good.
everyone just
Yeah.
automatically assumes that the
And
Pats
they
will be in
have
the Super
Tevin
Bowl because
Coleman
they're the
as
greatest team
their
in the
back
NFL
number
right
two.
now.
No, that is false.
Tevin Coleman
That
is a
false.
really good back.
I mean,
number
here's
two.
the thing.
The Niners are.
Then why did you put the Pats ahead of them?
I have the Niners
Shut
at
up.
2.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I have the Niners at 2 and the Saints at 3.
So do
but I can buy
As
the
do
Saints
I.
at 2. I can buy
I
it.
cannot
And do
buy
we
it.
all have the Patriots at 1?
Yes.
I'm assuming.
I mean,
If the-
I'm actually concerned.
Tom
with
Brady's
the Patriots.
ageless, dude. Like,
No.
come on.
It
Tom
hasn't
Brady has
been
not
Tom
looked good
Brady.
this year.
It hasn't been
It's
Tom
been the
Brady.
defense.
And I'll
Let me
tell
tell
you
you.
this-
Okay, other than the defense.
Let
The
me tell you a
defense is
stat.
good.
If their offense hadn't taken a single step on the field and it had just been their defensive stats,
They'd be
They
3-1.
they still-
They'd be
in their
3-1.
entire season,
Yeah.
they would have a 500 record.
Yeah.
They have 18
They don't
interceptions
need
and
Tom
one
Brady.
passing touchdown.
I'm actually
18 interceptions,
well,
one
hey,
passing
I
touchdown.
want y'all to know this real quick. The only guy to throw a touchdown against the Pats this year, Daniel Jones.
Oh my
okay?
God.
Giants have a bright
Oh
future.
my
Back to the Patriots. Back
Danny
to the
Dimes.
Patriots. I'm actually concerned with their offense, and I think Brady hasn't been good since last season's playoffs. To be honest with you, he threw more interceptions than touchdowns in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
But I really like Sony Michel, especially come playoff time. And their
Sonny Michel.
How do you not love
multi-variety
Sony Michel?
backfield.
I just the
Their
Patriots
injuries
defense.
are destroying their
It's
wide
just-
receiving core.
Yeah,
especially with
Josh
Gordon out
Gordon,
now.
yeah.
But they
Especially
just
'cause
find a
we're
way to
planning
get
on
it
the-
done.
planning on releasing him
Can
after
we talk
he's
real quick
good.
about how Josh Gordon commented interesting when he was moved to IR? He's not that injured. Apparently, I saw this post. Apparently, he's pretty close to being healthy again.
Is he?
And the Patriots want to waive him when he's healthy and off IR.
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots want to oust Josh Gordon, and I
That's
don't
weird.
understand why.
Yeah.
It's just some Bill Belichick magic. He just
Hey, Bill knows what he's doing.
Yeah, you got to give that guy the
I
benefit
can't
of the
question
doubt.
Bill
it.
knows what he's doing.
What's weird about the Patriots is last year their defense was their problem at the beginning of the year and
Yeah.
most of
Yeah.
the year. And you look at this now, their defense.
Their defense is the
allowed
best part of their
3
their team.
points, 0 points,
phenomenal.
14 points, 7 points, 0 points against against NFL teams. They're allowing 0 and 3 points.
The
multiple
offense
times.
has scared me.
We are
with
shutting
I
I
teams
thought they
weak
were playing in the
defenses, but-
NCAA.
Yeah, I
Thought
mean,
that-
I think
That's
you
how
have to
they've
have the
been
Pats
treating
at
their
1.
opponents.
They're the reigning Super Bowl champs. They're
Yeah.
undefeated.
They're undefeated.
No, I
I
think
see
a
them
team we
winning
kind of
again.
skipped over was Green Bay at 4.
Yeah, we need to talk about
I think
that.
Green Bay legitimately has a shot at going to the Super Bowl.
I think
Oh,
Aaron,
yeah,
Aaron Rodgers
100%.
probably has a good shot at becoming the MVP.
Well, it's just nobody
Well-
in the NFC except the Niners have a shot because they don't have
The
Jimmy
Saints?
Garoppolo.
Niners do not
They
have a shot.
have Jimmy
It's gonna be-
Garoppolo
it's gonna
at
be a good
quarterback.
year.
They will make
For
the
the
playoffs and
football.
nothing more.
AFC basically is just New England, but NFC you're going to see San
That-
Francisco,
that
New
NFC's
Orleans.
amazing.
I'm
and
excited to
Green
see
Bay.
how these NFC playoffs play
This
out.
is going to be a real year. And Minnesota.
Yeah,
And
Minnesota's in
Minnesota.
the mix. Seattle's in the mix.
I mean, we're talking about how
Seattle's
Minnesota's
not
the
in the
number
mix.
5 team.
Carolina's in the
be
mix.
a wild card team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going to be a good wild card game with
Minnesota,
whoever
But
they
number
play.
5
I think
team
the
is gonna
big
probably
thing
be
for
a wild
Green
card
Bay
team.
is their
Yeah.
defense.
That's
This
crazy.
team has always been Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers just
No,
carrying them
the-
with a poor defense.
Actually, yeah.
I mean, they've got some good guys on the back end with Jair Alexander now. And to be honest with you, Zadarius and Preston Smith are just phenomenal. Those two edge rushers, I mean, they're putting so much pressure on the opposing quarterbacks. It's a completely new Packers team. And I think the offense is starting to flourish under Matt LaFleur. We saw last week against the Raiders, Rodgers had 5 touchdowns. And I know that it was just one game and the offense has been meh for a lot of the other games. But the truth is that they're really starting to show some signs of improvement. And if LaFleur's offense can get going more often in the next couple games like they did against the Raiders, this team could be really, really dangerous come postseason time.
Yeah,
I agree.
100% agree with you, Scotty.
1000% agree.
All right. Well, those are our NFL midseason power rankings. Thank you for tuning in. I know this was a bit of a long one, but we're really trying to cut back on the length, so we will work on that in the future. Thank you for anyone who is still here watching with us. And we will see you next week. This has been The Last Word.